Hello and welcome to my coverage of day 3 of the 2023 Hellenic Mountain Race over in Greece. Let's have a little look at the map and see what's been going on. As you can see, the race is into its third morning now, so the race is kind of starting to establish itself, and the lead riders have made it through CP2. And as you can see from the side here, Adrian has pretty much increased his gap just over 40k. So he looks like, looking at the elevation here, he's kind of putting a climb in between himself and the small kind of leading pack there, or second pack of Tanguy Ramsar, Mani Trucolo and Max Rice, and they're within just under probably 7k of each other. So not too much. I imagine once Max gets over this climb here, he's going to close on those guys pretty quickly. So yeah, it's all kind of coming together in the men's race. I'll do a bit more of a deep dive in the women's race in a second, but first up I shall go over to the Instagram page for the Hellenic Mountain Race, and this was Adrian arriving at CP2 earlier today. And he's still looking in good shape, pretty happy, and the sun's out, which I'd imagine a lot of riders are pretty pleased about at the moment, given the conditions. There he is there, just getting his stamp, and eating some pasta. Seems to be that the checkpoints are pretty good for food. 5-minute pasta, that's what you want in these races. And then we've got a lot of scratches. It seems to be a lot of reposts of people scratching. So a bit of a crash on the tarmac downhill. Dot watcher waiting for Adrian there. And then, I mean, this is the kind of terrain. I imagine this is the sort of hiker bike up to CP1. And there's a lot of people with broken bikes. It seems to be pretty savage on bikes. New brake lever, I imagine that was a crash, damaging the lever. Gone for XTR, so that's nice and fancy. And there is some tarmac, which seems to be pleasing a lot of people. And here we go. More scratches, wet feet. I mean, managing your feet when it's raining is really tough. And it sounds like a lot of people are suffering with basically trench foot. I've had it myself. Basically, your feet get so saturated that all the skin kind of like starts shriveling up, kind of like when you come out of a swimming pool, and your feet swell up, and then it kind of goes downhill from there because they're not breathing. I actually found the best way to deal with it is take some pseudo creme, take your socks off, try and dry everything the best you can, and then just like a layer of pseudo creme underneath your foot, and that kind of, it helps things a little bit, although it's still not ideal. I mean, you just need some dry weather and to dry them out. So yeah, so that looks like kind of the main theme. So Tanguy arrived second at the checkpoint, and then this sort of pack came in together. So he was ahead of Manu by the looks of things, a couple of minutes, which is basically nothing this far into a race. And I think Max was just a little bit further behind though. So, but he's having bike issues, suspension. I mean, if the suspension's not been serviced and it's really muddy, it can just stop working essentially. So yeah, so that is the story of the race for the guys. On to the women, and it looks like we're getting a bit of a leader now. So Quinn Dervahul. If I'm honest, I don't really know too much about her, but she seems to have got a bit of a gap of 30k exactly over Katie Jane Labinier. I think that's how you say that. So Katie had a few problems yesterday, so I went on her Instagram and she did this nice little update which explains what went on.
Hello! Update from the day 3, well, end of the morning that is now. Had a bit of a disastrous day yesterday. I lost so many hours trying to fix my gears that stopped working. Probably 2 to 3 hours of YouTubing and fiddling and stuff. But I've changed my hanger out and I've tweaked and they're not great, but I now have gears. Had to change my brake pads as well, which gives you a bit of an idea of how brutal the route is. Got through new brake pads in a day and a half. So yeah, so really slow going yesterday. I had to walk so much of it because I couldn't ride the bike and lost all that time and never going to catch it up, but doesn't matter, I am moving again. But this morning...
So there we go. Issues for Katie there, sounds like brake pads. I mean, a lot of people are suffering with brake pads wearing. It catches people out. If you don't take enough spares, then you can get caught out quite easily. And obviously, getting mud in the cables, in the shifter, you can drop your bike, twist the rear derailleur, and it sounded like Katie had some kind of problem like that. But she used her ingenuity, and she figured it out, and she's still going, and that's what counts in these races sometimes. On to Elodie. I think she's in about 5th in the women's field at the moment. She did some nice little updates. So she got into CP1, and she's gone through brake pads, through the brake pads and through the metal, and it sounds like she had to swap them out. Although it looks like the metal thing is upside down, but lost a lot of time there. I mean, that's why it's super important to know how to mend your bike on these races, because sometimes you just got to sort it out. And yeah, so this was on the way up to the checkpoint. If you remember, the riders go up and down on the same track, so it sounds like they've kind of crossed paths. And there's a funny little comment in here which made me laugh.
Second thing I wanted to say is, Nelson, I've been dot watching your races and I always wonder, why are people so slow? Now I got the answer. This is insane, but in a good way. I don't think I will make it in time, but literally every hill I do is like a little reward by itself. So that's what I'm going for, hill by hill. And by the end of the week I'll see where I am. I'm obviously now on a high, so there have been a lot of lows yesterday evening, for example, because I kept on navigating wrongly yesterday. It costed me a lot of time and energy. I went up and down hill flanks where I was not supposed to be. I'm also not going always through the night. I try to stop, but even if I stop, I'm not.
So there we go, a little update from Elodie. You know, always wondered why the dots go slowly on Nelson's races. Well, there you go. Nelson's races are absolutely brutal. The Atlas race, the Silk Road race, and this Hellenic Mountain race are no different. And yeah, so it's interesting. The race is settling into a bit of a pattern now. So I'll be back tomorrow with another update. So don't forget to give us a like and subscribe if you've been enjoying this. Any questions, put them in the comments. I'll try and either answer them in the updates or do a Q&A at the end of it. And yeah, see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.